You know, one of the challenges with hosting a podcast titled the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast, Dispelling the Myths of Health, Fitness, and Wellness, one of the challenges is that's a lot. There's a lot of myths out there dealing with health, fitness, and wellness. And you think about it, you've got exercise, you've got nutrition, you've got disease, you've got lifestyle, you've got even mindset. And we cover all those topics here on the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast, but I feel sometimes some of the information slips through the cracks. And one particular area happens to be exercises. You know, why would you do them? What do these exercises do? How do you do them? Well, that's enough information to be its own show. So I'm proud that we're going to be talking about launching a new series with our exercise coordinator, Charlie Merlot, all about exercises today on the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast. Hey, good day and welcome to the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast. My name is Garrett Williamson. I'm president of Personal Edge Fitness. Thank you so much for joining me today, and thank you so much for liking and sharing these podcasts. It's really helping grow our audience. But I appreciate you tuning in, especially this one, because we're talking about, well, of course, what do we do? Exercise, you know. And I brought a specialist on there. I brought our exercise coordinator on today, Charlie Merlot. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Glad to have you. You are the expert in this. You're going to see what I mean by that. You're actually going to see in this new program that we're launching why Charlie is the exercise coordinator. This is something that outside of his faith and his family that I think he spends most time on, you know, just
faith,
researching.
family, and fitness.
Exactly. Bingo.
Yeah, there you go.
That's awesome, man. I can't believe I didn't come up with that.
You
That's
should have.
Cool. Exactly. But before we get going, let me tell you how to get in touch with the show. If you're interested in this podcast or any others, or as always, and some of the best ideas we get are from our audience, if you have a question dealing with dispelling the myths of health, fitness, and wellness, please contact us, area code 251-278-3343. That's 251-278-EDGE. You can also reach me at Garrett, Garrett, at personaledgefitness.com. That, of course, also is our website, Personal Edge Fitness, our Facebook page. Hit me up on X at Team PE if you are so inclined. All right. You know, Charlie, in the intro, I was talking about the fact that, you know, dispelling the myths of health, fitness, and wellness. That's a lot. I mean, you know, we could be doing podcasts, well, every week. We're at 200 and something podcasts now. And I don't see them ever ending. But I feel like that some things get left in the weeds. And one of the things that we know is, obviously, I don't know, exercise is like second nature to you, right?
Pretty much at this point, yeah, I'd say so.
I mean, I tell people in a consult, we eat, sleep, and drink and breathe that stuff. But we've never really delved into telling people how to do exercises.
Yeah. I think the details are kind of, like you said, second nature to us. We almost just kind of just goes to the back of our brain. But like a lot of this stuff, the general public might not understand. And so I think there's a lot of value in bringing this up and you'll be able to talk about it a little more in depth. Exactly.
And explaining why we do these exercises and what have you. And I know that we talked before we got on the air here about the show, and you've already researched, you know, certain exercises that you want to go through, and you have a certain way you want to explain this. So tell us about how the show is going to go.
Yeah, well, I think, you know, something really unique about us here at Personal Edge is everybody has their own way of training. We have a lot of variety in the way that our trainers train. I think that is one thing that makes us very unique, and it provides a great experience for the clients. And so with that, there's a lot of different exercises that we use and a lot of different methods. We have some non-traditional exercises that somebody walks in the gym and they're like, what are you about to make me do right now? Or I can't believe I'm about to do this, you know, but there is some value in those exercises. Then we have, you know, your body weight exercises. So just exercises where you're not using any equipment at all. It's just body weight. And I think, you know, that when we do our online sessions, I think that provides a whole nother level of the experience, because we don't even have to have a client in the facility in order to give them an effective workout. Then we have our free weights. So, you know, any kind of barbell exercise, any kind of dumbbell, kettlebell, there's plenty of things we can do there. And then your machines as well. So we have our quiet side is where most of our machines are. And so, you know, a lot of those are more isolation exercise movements where, you know, depending on the certain client, could be more rehab focused, where
Right.
you're just isolating a specific joint or specific muscle. So yeah, there's a wide array of exercises that we're going to go over, and I'm excited to take each one and break them down, and to be able to provide a little more in-depth insight into how they work.
Sure, and what they do. Now, I want to do a kind of a 30,000 foot view of this first, because this is something I hear whenever we do a consult, and actually when you're doing a first session, you're feeling people out, because we always say there's so many different ways to work out. There's so many different exercises you can do. What would you guess on a quad glute? To develop quad glutes, how many exercises?
Oh my gosh, I mean, well over 100. I mean, all the
exactly.
variations you could come up with.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, and I would argue into the thousands.
Yeah.
I honestly think if I challenged you, you probably could come up with that many.
Yeah.
And so, and none of them are really, right or wrong really doesn't play into this. It's first, it's the goals, it's the what actually speaks to people, it's limitations, but the 30,000 foot view, as we hear all the time, body weight versus, free weights, and the big one is free weights versus machines.
Yep.
And I always thought that was kind of ridiculous, how the two competing. Give us a little overview of why would you do body weight, why would you do free weights, machines, kind of a quick overview of just those three principles.
Yeah, well, for body weight, like I said, I mean, it really depends on a lot of factors and what type of exercise you're going to do.
Right.
Mainly because, like, where are you at, right? I mean,
Sure.
if you're, on vacation and you only have a limited exposure to certain amounts of equipment, then you can only do certain exercises, right? And here we have just about anything you could think of.
Exactly.
We have a lot of options that we can pick from, and so I think right there it really depends on where are you at, what is your environment that you're able to exercise in, and then you can go from there and pick your exercises.
Sure.
When it comes to body weight, I think, and we'll get into this as we kind of dive into certain exercises, but when you look at like a chin up or a push up, those exercises are great for displaying relative body strength. So,
right. Oh yeah, definitely.
Strength
definitely.
relative to your body weight, because there's a lot of people out there who they might can squat 300 or 400 pounds, but their relative strength is not that great, because they might be a 250, 300 pound person, and so really, when you do the math, it's not like their strength is that great compared to someone who might be smaller than them, but is actually a little stronger relative to their body weight.
True. And the big one I hear is the either the fear of free weights, or I work out so good I don't do machines, and that's wrong, right? I mean, give us the differences. Why the pros and cons of free weights, pros and cons of machines. Why would you do either one of them?
Starting off, I'd say a pro of free weights is you get a little more of the stabilizing muscles to engage, right? So because the weights are not on a track and they're not supported, you have to use those stabilizing muscles, which is beneficial, right? You want to be able to train those. Versus the free weights, it's going to be more of a guided movement. It's I almost like to say it's almost impossible to mess it up.
Machines machines.
Yeah, machines are more of a guided movement, so it's almost impossible to mess it up because it's on a guided track, which can be beneficial because if you're in a rehab setting where someone has an injury, that might be a better way to start when you're trying to work on strengthening the muscle, because you don't want any kind of flaring of the elbow, or you don't want something to get offline, and that could potentially put them at risk. And so,
well, that also in that because the argument I hear a lot is that the feeling, the conversations that I have dealing with that is that I've graduated from machines and moved to free weights, but I mean we've got some fantastic athletes here. We have some fantastic athletes on staff that use machines.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Most definitely.
So, and why would they? Okay, if they can do the free weights, why would they go back to machines? Why would you do that?
Personally, I think if I'm looking for just a quick workout, I'm going to go over the quiet side and I'm going to knock out a little circuit. I think it's convenient. First of all, when you get stronger, obviously, the more weight you have to load up on a bar, the more weight you have to pick up, and I mean, I'm just going to be real with y'all. Sometimes I don't feel like I have time for that, or I don't want to do that. I'm like, I don't want to have to load up a barbell, so I'll just go, instead of loading up a barbell with 150 pounds, I'll just go do some rows over there on the seated row machine for 150 pounds, and all I have to do is put a little clip in and then get to work. So
exactly.
I think there's a lot of reasons, but time is one.
I think also when you go in, convenience,
Yeah.
definitely time, and also if you're getting really specific on the muscle. You know, I'm thinking about like a weighted squat on the back is going to be a lot for quad, glute, and what have you. But if you're really getting aggressive, you don't want to worry about your lower back. You don't want to worry about the stabilizing muscles, as you say. You know, getting on the sliding leg press,
Yep.
and either doing a finishing set on that, or even just doing the workout on that. Then you if you're even if you're tired, your form is going to be cleaned up a little bit by the machine. I guess I'm leaning towards the machine because I think they get a bad rap, and where they're actually they're built that way. They're built so that they're ergonomically, you can put yourself in a safer situation for actually conducting the exercise.
For sure.
Now, I'm going to go over and give free time to same time to free weights. If you're in a rehab situation, or you haven't worked out before, you shouldn't do free weights first. That's not true.
No, not at all. I mean, we train free weights with a majority of my clients I work with, and I know everyone else does too, because again, there's a lot of value in doing it. But I think it really comes down to having someone who knows what they're doing, so can say, hey, like actually you need to clamp your form a little bit here.
Right.
So again, it's a matter of doing the exercise properly, and then from there progressing it in weight. And so I think it all really just comes back to having the right form, and then as you go, you can start to build up strength from there. And
what Charlie's talking about as far as form is concerned, so many of the free weight exercises, Olympic lifting exercises, are mimicking daily activities. The example I give, and everybody knows I'm a big dog fan, so one I give all the time is if you have a large dog, most likely you purchase large bags of dog food. I promise you, at some point in time, whether you've ever lifted a weight or not, you've done a deadlift.
Oh yeah.
You know, that thing has been. It's not always on the shelf. It's on the floor at some point in time. And so you're mimicking those exercises. When we have people that do rehab, and they're actually rehabbing knee or whatever, you were talking about stabilizing muscles. Yeah, we're going to work the quad. We're going to work the hamstring. Work the glute. We're going to work everything around affecting that knee, and that goes to stabilizing. And I think, like you said, I mean, there's no better stabilizing than free weights.
Right. And you think getting into the daily movement patterns, right? I mean, the deadlift, I think of, a lunge, a weighted carry, these different exercises that, they carry over a lot to those daily activities of living. And I think that's really important. Whereas in the machines, yes, you're strengthening the muscles, but I would say the free weights can be more functional, if that makes sense. You get more of a functional application, a more functional benefit out of it. Versus the machines, you're going to build strength, and that's great. But at some point, we want that to carry over to our daily life, right? We don't just want to have strength in the gym. We want to see it. We want to see it pour over into our life as well. Yeah.
Right, exactly. We're here really to enhance our lifestyle. Our mission statement is we seek to make people feel better about being themselves, and that's where you've got to transfer this over. Talk to us a little more about what you're going to be doing on this show. And they're going to be short segments. We're going to be dropping them, I believe, on Wednesday. This actually dropped on Tuesday. We're going to drop those on Wednesday, and you're going to pick an exercise a week. How are you going to pick exercises? Give us an idea about that.
Yeah, so the template, like I said, we're doing non-traditional, and then we'll go into a body weight, and then a free weight, and then a machine. And we'll just kind of rotate through that. Right. Just rotating through the different categories. I wanted to go ahead and dive in one today, if that's all right.
Yeah, no, we will, definitely. And also I want to tell you that you're about to see how we're going to do this, but in the template, telling a little bit about the exercise. Yeah. About, why would you, and the one I love, my favorite, I can tell you right now, we haven't even started this. My favorite is going to be the non-traditionals. And you're doing one today. Which I love, because why the heck would you do, and I'm going to let the cat out of the bag, why the heck would you do a medicine ball slam? Just looks, every time I see that exercise or do it myself, I think of Bam Bam from the Flintstones, that's what it's like. But there's a rhyme or reason to it, and you're going to get into that. But we're also going to have, and you'll see in a minute, that we're going to have videos, which you're going to be talking through and telling ergonomically how to do the exercise, and why you would do it. In fact, we're going to show you one right now. We're going to cut away, and you'll hear Charlie's going to talk you through this exercise. Check it out.
Here's the setup for the medicine ball slam. You're going to start out by grabbing a 10 to 14 pound medicine ball. Then you're going to press the ball up in the air and forcefully slam it down as hard as you can. This is a great exercise for developing power. Try it in your next workout and hit us up if you have any questions.
Awesome. That was That was fantastic. And that's what we're going to do every single time. We're going to show those videos and talk you through it. Now, tell us about the Med Ball Slam. Give us some info.
Yeah, so this is actually kind of where this idea stemmed from.
Yeah.
Garrett approached me about this and said, hey, saw this exercise and, it really made me think we need to take some time breaking these down. And so
he's not telling the truth. I'm going to stop you right there. I'm going to tell you. And the reason being is that I'm sitting here training for my 11th World Championship.
Oh, that's right. That's what it was.
And, that's what it was. It was his fault.
Yeah, I'm the one that made him do it.
Trying to blame me for it. So, and actually, our exercise coordinator, our whole team's involved in putting together my program. My exercise coordinator, of course, is Charlie. And how does he put one of the things he has me doing in there is not one, but 2 different Med Ball Slams on the same day in the same anaerobic workout.
It's brutal, right?
And it is brutal. And I've done them before, but I really found out, wow, this makes sense. And then that's what got us thinking about, why don't we describe that? So so it's his fault.
That's right. Yeah, let's get the story straight before we go any further.
Exactly. But I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead. Tell us about the Med Ball Slam.
Yeah, so I'm going to start off with like a few benefits of the exercise, right? And this is a non-traditional exercise. So this is one of those that, as I was saying earlier, you might walk in the gym and see somebody doing this and think, what in the world are they doing right now? These people are crazy. And so, yeah, it's not a traditional exercise, but there is a lot of good application to it. And so a few benefits is, one, it's an easy learning curve. And as you saw in the video, it's pretty straightforward. It's pretty simple.
Right.
Literally, you pick up a medicine ball, and what a medicine ball is, it's a weighted ball, right? And so it's a padded ball. Typically, they weigh anywhere from 10 to 14 pounds.
Right.
And all you're going to do, as you saw in the video, you press it up and you slam it down, and you just try to bust the ball is what I tell people to do.
Exactly.
That's a cue that I use, because something that is really important when we're doing this is intent.
Yeah, definitely.
And what intent means is maximal effort. So we want to display maximal effort whenever we're doing this exercise, and really all exercises, but especially an exercise like this, because it's more of a power exercise. We're trying to generate a lot of force, a lot of power.
Right.
And so this exercise is great for really any experience level. I mean,
tell us what, and by the way, quick note on the medicine ball, by the way, it's probably one of the oldest, and I did a podcast about it, as a matter of fact. It dates back to like early days of the Olympics back in Greece. Which I think is kind of interesting that the oldest piece of equipment that we have in this facility, it happens to be a medicine ball.
Yeah,
it was the first gift my wife ever gave me, as a matter of fact. So so it's the oldest piece of equipment we have in here. But and that's gone through a lot of variations. But what muscle groups are you working when you do this exercise?
So mainly the lats. That's the main muscle group that we're trying to target. And
let everybody know where the latissimus dorsi is.
Right.
Too.
So it's right there on your backside, connects down in your armpit and through your rib cage. And so
what does it control?
Control is, I guess that would be arm extension. So extension through the arm, through the shoulder more specifically. Right. And so and also just shoulder retraction of the shoulder blades.
Exactly.
So,
it's a pulling muscle, and it actually muscles don't pull. They muscles don't push, they pull. But it's actually it whenever you do anything to draw your elbow into the body or back away from the body, back behind the body, that's controlled by a group of muscles, but latissimus dorsi definitely.
Yeah, that's a major mover. And so swimmers, any kind of carryover there. But I mean, again, this applies to everybody, any experience level. And so it's a great exercise for working your lats in that way. And like I said, for any experience level. So we have kids that come in, 8, 10 years old, starting out, and that's one of the first exercises that we prescribe them is medicine ball slams, right? Because it's an easy learning curve. It's easy for them to pick up,
and they like
it. Fitness. Oh yeah, and they love it. I mean, who doesn't like picking up something and slamming it as hard as you can, right?
Which goes right into our adults, and as far as dealing with stress,
exactly. Because if you do that at home, if you're a kid, you're gonna get put in timeout, and if you're an adult, you're gonna get some weird looks from from your spouse.
Dad's mad again.
Yes. Oh gosh, here you go slamming stuff again. So this is a safe place where you can do something like that and not get judged for it, right?
And we actually do it on the loud side, or we do it outside. Yeah.
So, but and then our adults as well. Like it's a great stress reliever. You come in, you've had a rough day at work, and you just come and slam a ball, and it just feels good.
A big time.
It just feels good.
Also, in that we were talking about the lats, that is the major mover, and usually in an exercise, and I say usually, but almost always, unless we're getting really, really, really specific, we have a primary mover. Which would be the lats in here, but we also have some secondary movers in this, some secondary muscles. What are the secondary muscles, stabilizing muscles? What else might be involved in this exercise?
One that comes to the top of my head that a lot of people might not think about in the specific exercise is your core, your abdominals,
Right.
Your erector spinae and your back, just the 360 degrees of your core.
Right.
Because as you're going to slam that ball, all that force is translating from up here down to the floor.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And you're really, it's a violent exercise, if
Right.
you will. You're
Right.
really putting a lot of aggression into that. And so as you translate down, that weight is coming down from the top all the way down through your legs. And so that's one that I think might get overlooked is you're really training your core through that,
Sure.
how to translate force from the top of your body down to the bottom.
And we talked about kids, and we talked about quote unquote adults doing this, but I mean, even seniors. I mean, and you were saying violent. True, it is.
Mhm.
It's an explosive exercise.
Explosive, yeah.
But would you use this with seniors at all? Would you use this with some of our older population?
Most definitely, because as we've mentioned in previous podcasts, as we tend to age and people neglect those type of movements, right?
Right.
It's not because time passing on a calendar.
Bingo,
I have to throw that in
exactly.
there,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
it's because we stop doing these type of exercises, right?
Right.
We stop jumping, we stop running, we stop skipping, and this is one of those exercises. It's more of a powerful movement,
Sure.
and that uses those type 2 muscle fibers, which
Right.
that's what creates these big, powerful, explosive movements that
Right.
we tend to not do as much as we age. And so
Absolutely.
that's why I think it's so important to do these things in the
Yeah.
gym, because
Yeah.
you might not do this at home, but do them here, so that way you continue to train those muscle fibers. You continue to stay powerful. You continue
Right.
to, it really carries over to balance too,
Yeah,
right, in your
definitely.
cerebellum. And so continue to do these things is important, because you want to be able to maintain that high quality of life that everybody wants
Exactly.
as we get older.
And I love the fact that you threw that in there, because I asked him about the secondary movers, and we could go through. It affects the shoulders, it affects somewhat of the chest because you're going to bring the ball overhead. But primary, latissimus dorsi, and then core. But the thing you heard him throw in there was balance. How it affects the cerebellum, because you're taking your body through several planes of motion. Several different planes, and so that's going to affect your balance. And so tremendous. And this is why we want to go over this. This is why we want to start this show, to delve into why the heck would you do that. And I think you can understand there's a lot more going on than you may or may not expect. So,
and there's one other tip I wanted to
please
get
go
before,
ahead, add in
before
there.
we wrap up on the med ball slam. So just for those watching, the viewers, if you do try this exercise,
Yes.
I just want to warn you,
I know where he's going.
be mindful of the ball you pick up before you try.
Absolutely.
Because unfortunately, it's a common mistake to grab the wrong ball. And when you see, we have some that are bouncy,
right, the rebounding balls.
The rebounding balls. We have some that are filled with sand, and we have some that are kind of in the middle.
Right.
I would just be very aware not to grab
Absolutely.
the bouncy rebounding ball,
No,
because
no.
if you bend over and that thing comes up,
Right.
you might get a busted nose.
Yeah, but say you may
yeah.
get that nose job that you either wanted or didn't want, one or the other. You're exactly right. So, and we've had some split because we grabbed the wrong ball
Right,
too.
yep,
So yeah, that great. Awesome tip.
Yeah, just
awesome
wanna throw
tip.
that in there.
And like anything else, and I'm sure Charlie would agree. Start light. Start light. It's the best way to start on this.
Yep.
And then kind of slowly progress your way up. So, but if you need help with that, of course, that's what we're here for. The number one reason why people come to see us is our expertise. And as Charlie said at the beginning, doing the right form, especially when it goes to free weights and what have you, knowing the right combination, knowing the right movements and what have you, and doing it correct is going to keep you from getting hurt. Charlie, I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah,
it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be dropping these. We're actually going to be dropping the first one next Wednesday, and we're going to have one every single week, different exercise. Hey, if you're interested, throw out your favorite exercise. Give us a call and let us know what exercise. Why would you do that, or how do you do this, or what am I doing when I do this exercise? Give us a call at area code 251-278-3343. That's 251-278-EDGE. You can reach me at Garrett@personaledgefitness.com. You can reach Charlie at personaledgefitness.com. Let us know what exercise you're interested in us going over. We'd be more than glad to give you full credit, and be more than glad to, if you want it, and more than glad to go over the exercise in the series. Charlie, thank you for being on the show yet again.
Yeah.
And man, I'm really looking forward to this. So,
Same.
hey, listen, explaining exercises, the correct way to do them, it's just one more way we help you reach your level of wellness. Thank you so much for joining us today. Tune into that next show, and I'll see you next time.